There is a green tsunami swallowing the American South, covering 7 million acres of land in a blanket of leaves so thick it can crush a building. We are told this is a biological disaster. We are told this is a botanical cancer that must be burned, poisoned, and eradicated at any cost. The United States government spends over $100 million every single year trying to kill it. Utility companies spend another $1 million a day fighting it off power lines. But if you fly across the Pacific Ocean to Japan or China, this hated weed is not a monster. It is a treasure. In the markets of Kyoto, the root of this plant sells for a higher price per pound than premium beef. In the pharmacies of Beijing, extracts from this vine are prescribed to treat everything from alcoholism to heart disease. We are burning a billion-dollar economy to the ground because we do not know what we are looking at. We call it the vine that ate the South. We call it a nuisance. We call it kudzu. But for 2,000 years, the rest of the world called it the rescue plant. The archive opens at the Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia in 1876. When the Japanese delegation arrived in America for the First World's Fair, they brought a garden. They constructed a beautiful, shaded pavilion covered in sweet-smelling purple flowers and large, heart-shaped leaves. The American public was mesmerized. They had never seen a plant that grew so fast, provided such deep shade, and smelled like grapes. They bought it by the thousands to plant on their porches. For 50 years, kudzu was the darling of the American South. During the Dust Bowl of the 1930s, the Soil Erosion Service actually paid farmers $8 an acre to plant it. They called it the miracle vine because its massive root system could lock the soil in place and stop the land from washing away. It saved the South from ecological collapse. But then, the chemical age arrived. The tractor arrived. A plant that could not be controlled by a machine became an enemy. We forgot the medicine. We forgot the food. We only saw the speed. So what is actually inside the green monster that is consuming our telephone poles? Let me tell you what is hidden in the root that is as big as a man. The kudzu root is one of the largest biological batteries in nature. A single root can grow to the size of a human body, weighing over 300 pounds. Packed with a pristine white starch that puts American cornstarch to shame. In the culinary world of high-end Asian cuisine, this is known as kuzu starch. It is the gold standard of thickeners. When you use cornstarch, it turns your food cloudy and leaves a chemical aftertaste because it is processed with harsh acids. Kuzu starch is medicinal. It is clear. It is tasteless. And it has a unique gelling strength that creates a texture silkier than anything the Western food industry can produce. But the real secret is not in the texture, it is in the chemistry. Kudzu is packed with a class of compounds called isoflavones, specifically puerarin and didzin. These are not just random plant chemicals. These are potent vasodilators. They open up the blood vessels. They improve circulation to the brain and the heart. In traditional Chinese medicine, this root is the primary treatment for stiff necks, migraines, and high blood pressure. But the most shocking application, the one that could dismantle a multi-billion-dollar rehab industry, is its effect on alcohol. Ancient texts claimed that kudzu could cure a hangover and stop a man from drinking. Modern science laughed at this until Harvard University finally tested it. They found that hamsters bred to love alcohol voluntarily stopped drinking when given kudzu extract. It blocks the path of the acetaldehyde toxin that makes you feel sick. But more importantly, it disrupts the dopamine reward loop that causes addiction. We are spraying poison on a plant that contains the chemical blueprint for curing alcoholism. But let's talk about the leaves. Let's talk about the green ocean that covers the trees. If you are a farmer raising goats, cattle, or sheep, and you are buying hay or commercial feed, you are wasting your money. You are looking at a free buffet that is nutritionally superior to the industry standard. Kudzu leaves contain between 15 and 18% crude protein, That is the same, if not higher, than alfalfa, the queen of forages that farmers pay premium prices for. But unlike alfalfa, which is finicky and requires irrigation, kudzu grows a foot a day in poor soil during a drought. It fixes nitrogen from the air, fertilizing the soil as it grows. It is the ultimate survival fodder. During the Great Depression, southern farmers knew this. They grazed their herds on kudzu. Their cows were fat, their milk was rich, and their cost of production was zero. Today, we have been brainwashed to see a pasture full of kudzu as a ruined field, when in reality, it is a vertical calorie bank waiting to be withdrawn by livestock. So here is the question that the chemical herbicide manufacturers are terrified you will ask. If we have a plant that produces a high-value starch, cures addiction, feeds livestock for free, and regenerates the soil, why have we declared war on it? Why are we spraying Agent Orange components on the very thing that could save the small farmer? The suppression of kudzu is a masterpiece of marketing and industrial interest. The chemical companies looked at this vine and saw a threat to two major industries. First, the feed industry. If a farmer can feed his cattle from the vines growing on the edge of the woods, he does not need to buy sacks of soy and corn. Second, the herbicide industry. Kudzu is the perfect villain. It looks scary. It grows fast. It creates a visual panic. The chemical giants realized they could sell millions of gallons of glyphosate and triclopyr by terrified homeowners and municipalities promising to tame the beast. They created a war economy around a plant. They labeled it a federal noxious weed. They made it illegal to plant. They created a narrative that says the only good kudzu is dead kudzu. But look at the reality of the invasion. Kudzu thrives on the edges. It thrives where we have disturbed the land, road cuts, abandoned fields, eroded gullies. It is nature's band-aid. It rushes in to cover the wound, hold the soil, and pump nitrogen back into the earth. It is only a monster because we stopped using it. In Japan, it does not take over the country because they harvest it. They dig the roots for starch. They cut the vines for baskets. They feed the leaves to animals. The invasion is actually a symptom of our laziness. We stopped being producers and became consumers. We stopped harvesting the abundance and started poisoning it. But there is a critical warning that must be etched into your mind before you run out to the roadside with a machete. The war against this plant has been waged with heavy chemical artillery. You must never, ever harvest kudzu from the side of a highway, under a power line, or on public land where you do not know the history. These areas are routinely sprayed with powerful, persistent herbicides that can stay in the plant tissues for months. These chemicals are designed to kill, and they will accumulate in your body. If you see brown spots on the leaves, curling vines, or a chemical smell, walk away. You are looking at a poisoned well. You must find the deep woods. You must find private land where the owner has given up the fight. You must find the pristine vine that has been left alone. That is where the medicine lives. For the homesteader and the survivalist, kudzu is not a problem. It is a limitless resource. The "you cannot" list of this plant is a testament to its power. You cannot starve if you have a mattock and a patch of kudzu. The roots are available all winter long. Massive tubers that can keep a family alive when the grocery store shelves are empty. You cannot run out of animal feed if you learn to cure the vines like hay. You cannot suffer from soil erosion if you let the vine do its work. You cannot buy a better basket weaving material than the runner vines, which are so strong they were used to tow cars in the early 20th century. The suppression of kudzu is the suppression of self-reliance. They want you to buy cornstarch from a box, not dig kudzu from the ground. They want you to buy hay from a truck, not cut fodder from the trees. They want you to buy pills for your headache, not brew tea from a root. They classified it as a disaster because they could not figure out how to put a barcode on a plant that grows a foot a day. But knowledge is the antidote to fear. while the USDA prints brochures on how to kill it. A quiet revolution is happening. In the mountains of North Carolina, creative entrepreneurs are starting to harvest the vine. They are making kudzu jelly, which tastes like grape candy. They are weaving baskets that sell for hundreds of dollars. They are experimenting with extracting the starch. They are remembering what the Japanese delegation tried to tell us in 1876. So here is what you do. You stop looking at the green wall as a monster. You start looking at it as a mine, but you respect the labor. Harvesting kudzu root is not easy work. It is a battle. You have to dig deep, sometimes 3 or 4 feet into the red clay, to find the crown. You have to follow the massive tubers as they twist through the earth. It is hard, sweaty, back-breaking work, but the reward is a starch that is pure, white, and healing. To process it, you do not need a factory. You need a hammer and a bucket of water. You smash the roots to a pulp. You wash the pulp in water until the milk runs out. You let the milk settle, and the white starch falls to the bottom. You pour off the water, and there it is, the white gold. You dry it into chunks. You use it to thicken your soups, your sauces, your pies. You drink it as a warm tonic when you feel a cold coming on. You feel the difference in your body when you switch from industrial corn glue to wild, medicinal starch. If you have goats, you stop fighting the vine and start managing it. You build a fence. You turn the animals loose. You watch them turn the invasive problem into milk and meat. You realize that the problem was never the plant. The problem was the lack of an eater. You reclaim the name that the South tries to curse. You do not call it the vine that ate the South. You call it the green gold. You call it the southern ginseng. You call it the free lunch. Every person who digs a kudzu root is one less customer for the corn syrup industry. Every farmer who feeds kudzu hay is one less dependent on the fluctuating price of soy. Every person who brews a tea from the leaves to settle a headache is taking their health back from the pharmacy. The vine they demonized. The vine they spent billions to destroy. The vine they taught you was a foreign invader. Ancient cultures knew it was a gift. The chemical companies definitely knew it was a competitor. Now you know it is a resource. Kudzu is still here. It is covering the abandoned houses and the old barns, waiting for a population that is hungry enough to work for their dinner. It is holding the hillsides together. It is fixing the nitrogen. It is growing while you sleep. It can feed your livestock. It can heal your body. It can save your soil. If this opened something for you, subscribe. Every share helps preserve knowledge they spent a century trying to spray away. The next vault opens soon.